Breaking news from Houston. The Golden State Warriors survived, and they did it in style. After months of scrutiny, doubts about their relevance, their age, and their ability to compete at a high level, they put everything on the line in Game 7 against the Rockets and won. This wasn't just a technical victory. It was a statement, a manifesto, the validation of one of the boldest gambles of the NBA season, the arrival of Jimmy Butler. It was February when General Manager Mike Dunleavy pressed Joe Lacob. The time was now. All or nothing. A team trapped between legacy and uncertainty needed something to reignite its competitive fire. And despite a turbulent history in Miami and controversial stints in Minnesota and Philadelphia, Butler was a chosen name. A 35-year-old veteran hungry for victory, but surrounded by doubts, even within NBA locker rooms. The decision was criticized. Many saw the move as an act of desperation, a poorly calculated attempt to artificially prolong an era that seemed over. But Lacob listened, reflected, and went all in. He gave Butler part of the Warriors' narrative to command, and the result of that choice finally had its moment of glory. On the sideline of the Toyota Center, as his players ran back to the locker room celebrating the win, Lacob stood still, smiling, watching, a man who saw his faith rewarded. When Butler ran past him, swept up in the adrenaline of victory, the call was almost symbolic. "Jimmy!" Lacob shouted. Butler stopped, turned around, and the two embraced. The gesture was simple, but it carried the weight of an entire narrative. And if you're just tuning in, this is the kind of behind-the-scenes story you'll only find here. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, did you believe the Warriors still had this fire left in them? Because if you look at the numbers since Butler's arrival, the transformation is almost shocking. In just 3 months, Golden State became one of the best teams in the league. A 23-8 record, the third best net rating in the NBA, the number 1 defense, 8th best offense, a leap to elite status for a group that previously seemed headed for obscurity. The impact wasn't just tactical, it was emotional, cultural. Butler brought a combative energy, a sense of urgency. The Warriors, once counted out, were now competing with purpose. And even without being the protagonist every night, he became the driving force behind this resurgence. In Game 7, Butler tallied 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Solid stats, yes. But what the numbers don't show is his game awareness, his quiet leadership, his presence on the court. Meanwhile, Buddy Hield had one of the best performances of his career. 33 points, including 9 three-pointers. Draymond Green, at 35, proved why he's still one of the best defenders of his generation, starting the game at full intensity and scoring 16 points, 8 of them in the first quarter. And Steph Curry, the eternal leader, now 37, put up 22 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and a plus 16 on the court. He dismantled the Rockets' zone defense like a surgeon. But this victory goes beyond the court. It's about timing, about legacy, and about risk. Joe Lacob knew that if this move didn't work, the cost would be steep. Yet, after watching the team completely transform with Butler's presence, he didn't hesitate to lock him in through 2027 with a 2-year extension worth $121 million. A hefty contract for a player with a volatile history? No doubt. But Lacob answered with conviction. Yes, it was a bit risky, but we have to take risks in this life. And he's worth every penny. That's all I can say. He's fantastic. And that conviction comes from an uncomfortable truth within the Warriors. The window is closing. Curry, Draymond, Looney, all pillars of this era are well into their 30s. Head coach Steve Kerr, so deeply tied to this core, is already seen in league circles as a potential successor to Greg Popovich in San Antonio. The future is murky, and those will come back stronger next year. Speeches no longer resonate the same when your leaders are nearing the end of their careers. It was now or never. And Jimmy Butler, as contradictory as it may have seemed, fit this moment perfectly. Steph Curry spoke openly about it, about the sense of urgency that spread through the roster, about how Butler's arrival reactivated that collective will. "We're trying," he said. "You can feel there's a care factor for every player on this team that starts with me, Draymond, Looney, and now with Jimmy. So I had to trust in that as long as this journey continues." Butler, for his part, seemed fully integrated. He said he felt welcome from day one, that trust in the group never wavered, that they knew from beginning they could beat anyone on any night. And even Rick Carlisle, coach of the Pacers, recently admitted if Butler had started the season with the Warriors, he'd be in the MVP conversation. But the question now is, would that be enough against the Minnesota Timberwolves? A team even younger than Houston, more complete, more mature, and just as hungry? Lack of doesn't hide it. It felt good to beat the Rockets, but we still need 12 more wins. And this is where the story really begins. What we saw in Houston was just the first chapter. With Butler, the Warriors have shown they're not ready to die. But the next challenge will be even greater. And if this group is truly capable of winning one more title, they'll have to prove it on every possession in every game. Now I want to hear from you. Can the Warriors really defy time and win another ring? Or was this just the last gasp of a legendary dynasty? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because what's coming is going to be breathtaking. And of course, the next twist in the NBA starts here. And if the Bucks' melancholic end to the season already felt dramatic enough, with an early playoff exit and mounting pressure surrounding the franchise, what came next turned a crisis into a full-blown institutional collapse. Because what was once just an open wound has now become an amputation. Damian Lillard has torn his Achilles tendon. A cruel sentence for a player who has endured years of frustration in pursuit of a title, who joined Giannis with one clear goal: to lift a trophy in Milwaukee. The news, devastating on its own, carries crushing implications. It's almost certain Lillard will miss the entire 2025-26 season. That means the Bucks not only face another year of uncertainty, but they'll enter the next competitive cycle without their second star, without flexibility, and possibly without the face of the franchise. Because Giannis Antetokounmpo is watching all of this, and there's a question unavoidable pulsing at the center of his mind. Is it still worth it? Giannis has always been transparent about his priorities. He wants to win. He always has. He never played just to be a local legend or to break records within one franchise. His goal is glory. And with each wasted season, especially after consecutive first-round eliminations, that desire morphs into urgency. Now, with Lillard sidelined and the Bucks project in pieces, the moment feels decisive. The line between loyalty and ambition has never been thinner. This isn't just a momentary failure. It's a vision of the future. And maybe Giannis is starting to believe that future is no longer in Milwaukee. And when a star like Antetokounmpo starts reconsidering his commitment, the domino effect ripples across the NBA. Phones ring, plans shift, general managers stop everything to ask one thing: how we bring the Greek freak to our city. As of today, 5 destinations are quietly emerging as frontrunners. 5 franchises that believe they have what it takes to seduce Milwaukee. And more importantly, to convince Giannis that theirs is a place where he can win. The first is Brooklyn. Even while in the midst of a rebuild, the Brooklyn Nets have never hidden their obsession with Antetokounmpo. Even before the Lillard injury, sources close to the organization confirmed he is Plan A. With Nick Claxton, Noah Clowney, and Keon Johnson as promising young pieces, and up to 6 first-round picks available, the Nets can assemble a robust package. Maybe not irresistible on its own, but enough to spark serious conversations. More than that, Brooklyn offers basketball's biggest stage. The New York market, paired with the opportunity to build a team around Giannis, Cam Johnson, and a re-signed Cam Thomas, could be the start of a new era, a new dynasty. And with Jordi Fernandez at the helm, an emerging and innovative head coach, the project becomes even more enticing. But if the glamour of New York lights is an attraction, the weight of tradition might speak louder. Enter the Golden State Warriors. For years, Giannis' name has been whispered in the hallways of San Francisco. And now, what once felt like a distant dream may finally be within reach. The connection with Stephen Curry runs deep. Both are represented by the same agency, both driven by mutual respect. And more than that, their playing styles seem tailor-made for one another. A trade with the Warriors could involve first-round picks, young players, and perhaps a veteran like Jimmy Butler, acquired this past offseason. To balance the deal, in a bolder scenario, Draymond Green could be included, perhaps rerouted to a third team if Milwaukee prefers future assets. The point is, even if they don't offer the flashiest package, Golden State may be the destination that speaks most to Giannis' heart. After all, playing alongside Curry under Steve Kerr with an experienced supporting cast could be the perfect formula for another title run. Meanwhile, in Texas, a new giant is awakening. The Houston Rockets are young, aggressive, and competitive. With one of the league's top defenses and a clear identity forged by Ime Udoka, the team has already shown it's ready to contend. What's missing? A true offensive leader, a superstar to raise the ceiling. And Antetokounmpo fits that role perfectly. A possible package can include Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, and 3 first-round picks. An aggressive offer, yet one that preserves Alperen Sengun, who, alongside Giannis, could form a modern, versatile, and dominant frontcourt. This trade would immediately shift Houston from a team of promise to a true title contender. But if there's one team capable of making an irresistible offer, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. With one of the NBA's deepest and youngest rosters, the Thunder have stockpiled a mountain of draft picks over the years. Now, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his prime, Chet Holmgren emerging as a defensive unicorn, and Jalen Williams earning all-star buzz, the team is on the verge of something special. Adding Giannis could be the final step. The proposal? Isaiah Hartenstein, Cason Wallace, Nikola Topic, and 4 first-round picks. And most importantly, all of this can be done without sacrificing the team's core. A nucleus of Shai, Giannis, Holmgren, and Williams would be, without question, one of the most terrifying in recent NBA history. Finally, there's a franchise quietly engineering a revolution. The San Antonio Spurs. With Victor Wembanyama as a new face of the league and a promising young core, the Spurs have already shown boldness by flirting with trades like that of De'Aaron Fox. Now, imagine pairing Wemby with Giannis. Even if the package includes Stephon Castle, Jeremy Sochan, Keldon Johnson, and multiple picks, San Antonio would still retain flexibility and depth, and the impact would be seismic. Together, Wembanyama and Antetokounmpo could average over 55 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, 5 blocks, and 2 steals per game. A force of nature, hard to guard, nearly impossible to stop. It's the kind of combination that redefines eras. And for Giannis, it might represent something greater than titles. The chance to write a new narrative in a franchise ready to build a new empire. Right now, the Bucks' future hangs by a thread. And maybe, while executives scramble to keep hope alive, Giannis is already looking to the horizon. Because when you hunger for greatness, the time for still waiting playing at a high level, and if he truly decides to leave, the NBA will never be the same again.